I'm going to start with an assumption that you have some interest in growing your practice because you clicked on this link on the Accretive Advisor portal. With only a few exceptions, of course, most advisors want to grow their business. Where advisors differ, however, is in defining what growth means to them, because trying to define growth is much like trying to define success. It means different things to different people. For some advisors, adding just 2 or 3 new high net worth clients per year might be sufficient to meet their growth targets. For others, it might require the addition of 50 new clients. I also know a number of advisors who are actually looking to reduce their number of clients, yet they still want to grow their practices by increasing their average revenue per client. So it doesn't appear to matter really how we define our growth. What is important is to accept that in most financial advisory practices, growth is desirable. In fact, I would go further and say that most advisors absolutely must have a plan to continually grow their business at whatever pace they deem sufficient to meet their own objectives. Of course, if you're an advisor who's still early in your career, growth is not an option. You must grow to survive and build your business. If you have a more mature practice with an older, more established client base, growth continues not only to be desirable, in most cases, it's still necessary. Let's test that theory. Here are a few questions to ask yourself to determine if you need to continue to grow your practice. Are an increasing number of my clients beginning to draw down on their investments to fund retirement income needs? Will this trend work to reduce my assets under management and correspondingly my revenue? How many of my clients have gotten to the point where they have all their assets invested and are unlikely to make additional investments? Have many of my clients little or no need for additional planning? If my clients begin to transfer assets to their children, either by choice or as a result of their death, am I at risk of losing those assets under management because the children need them for their own use, or they live far away, or they already have a relationship with another advisor to whom they would transfer those funds? If you answered yes to some or all of these questions, your revenue is at risk. And if you want to mitigate that risk, you will have to continue to work to grow your business. Now let's look at the expense side of the ledger and ask yourself, is managing my practice taking more of my time than it used to? Have my operating costs gone up? Has my dealer payout decreased? Are my clients insisting on higher levels of service and technology? Are my clients increasingly asking me about fees and commissions? If you answered yes to these questions as well, you are in or on the verge of a profit squeeze. Unfortunately, there are things you can do about that. You can, number 1, increase your pricing. Number 2, reduce your expenses. Or number 3, grow your business to achieve economies of scale. Now, ideally, you would be able to do all 3. However, in the world in which you operate today, some of those options are less acceptable or not available at all. For example, raising your fees would likely put you directly at odds with clients who are increasingly aware that fee structures vary and that some competing advisors charge less than you do. Reducing your expenses is a challenge because costs of staff and technology and compliance are all generally on the rise. So that pretty much leaves growing your business as the best or perhaps the only alternative. The question now becomes, how do we go about achieving it? Well, the good news is that the answer is clear. If you can master only 2 things, you dramatically improve the probability that you will be able to grow your business to whatever height and in whatever manner you desire to offset the impact of declining revenue and increasing costs. Those 2 things are attract the right people and convert them to clients. Using more familiar terminology, we call those 2 steps marketing and sales. And I don't want to suggest in any way that either is simple. Both require thought, careful planning, and effective execution. In addition, the design of your sales process will depend on the type of people attracted by your marketing efforts and the promises you make along the way. So however you personally define growth in your practice, I wish you the very best of luck in attaining it.